to act quicker than normal on these two items, if you don't mind.
Mr. Bank.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, council members. Yeah, I do want to thank council for the consideration. So we were notified by the FAA of these grant awards. We're approaching the end of the federal fiscal year, which ends September 30th, different than our fiscal year. And this is typically the time of year when the FAA is trying to get a bunch of their grants out the door. So they extended these grant offers to us. They gave us until, I think, August 11th for us to accept the grants. The only way we could accept the grants, we'd have to do it by a minimum of a resolution. But we just chose to go ahead and bring them forward as a single reading at this case. So this will give us the ability to go ahead and accept the grants with the FAA by the August 11th. This ordinance, it will appropriate funds for a new phase 1 master plan at the airport. We did have an estimated amount in the FY25 budget for, actually I think we may have even appropriated in FY24 for the local share. It's a little bit insufficient, so we're asking for a little bit more money to have the local share plus enough to cover up to 15% contingency, and that's what this ordinance will accomplish if passed.
Further discussion, comments, deliberation? Vice Mayor Nexton.
Just a question. It's a grant. Did the airport make a request for the grant, or is it something that's automatic? Was our airport manager involved with that?
Mr. Eubank.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor, Councilmember Naxted. Yes, it is a grant that we did request. Master plans are a key component for our airport to secure the amount of funding that we've been able to secure. Without them, we cannot get those grants. So the last one, and Derek may have to help me with when our last master plan was completed and the update, but this will set us up for at least the next 10 or 20 years. Derek?
Yeah, the last one, the update was finished in 2017, and so the projects are either in progress or have been done. So moving forward to get grants, we need to have this master plan done.
Thank you. Further deliberations, questions, comments? Seeing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Mayor Gabriel?
Yes.
Councilmember Askin?
Yes.
Councilmember Baisden?
Yes.
Councilmember Sonart?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Naxted?
Yes.
Councilmember Daniel?
Yes.
Student Representative Tanner?
Yes.
You have 6 yes votes. Ordinance number 3425, 2024 is enacted.
Thank you. Next up, we have item E2, ordinance number 3426-2024, increasing estimated revenues and appropriations in the airport snow removal equipment capital project fund and accepting a grant from the Federal Aviation Administration for the purchase of snow removal equipment, wheel loader, and plow/sanding truck for the Kenai Municipal Airport and authorizing the utilization of the State of Alaska Fleet Purchasing Agreement. Pleasure, Council. Vice Mayor Nexton.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to introduce ordinance 3426-2024, request unanimous consent.
A second.
Discussion on the motion? Seeing none, unanimous consent was requested. Is there any objection? Seeing none, the motion carries, and ordinance number 3426-2024 is introduced. Vice Mayor Nexton.
Thank you, Mayor. I move for a second reading of ordinance 3426-2024 and request unanimous consent.
Second.
Discussion on the motion? Seeing none, unanimous consent was requested. Is there any objection? Seeing none, the motion carries. With that, I will have the second reading of ordinance number 3426-2024, increasing estimated revenues and appropriations in airport snow removal equipment capital project fund and accepting a grant from the Federal Aviation Administration for the purchase of a snow removal equipment wheel loader and plow/sanding truck for the Kenai Municipal Airport and authorizing the utilization of the State of Alaska Fleet Purchasing Agreement. Vice Mayor Nexton.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to enact ordinance 3426-2024.
A second.
Is there anybody from the general public that would like to speak to ordinance number 3426-2024? Seeing nobody in chambers or online, we'll bring it back to council. Discussion from council. Vice Mayor Nexton.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to thank Mr. Abels, our airport manager, for this and the previous one, the 2 grants that we're getting for the equipment and for the airport master plan, the work that you're doing there. Thank you very much for doing that.
Further discussion? Seeing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Askin? Yes. Councilmember Baisden?
Yes.
Councilmember Sonart?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Nakstad?
Yes?
Councilmember Daniel?
Yes.
Mayor Gabriel?
Yes.
Student Representative Tanner?
Yes.
You have 6 yes votes. Ordinance number 3426, 2024 is enacted.
Thank you. Next up, we have item E3, resolution number 2024-36, approving a revised memorandum of agreement between the City of Kenai and the Kenai Peninsula Borough for intergovernmental administration of borough and city municipal elections. Pleasure, council. Vice Mayor Nexton.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to adopt Resolution 2024-36.
Second.
Is there anybody from the general public that would like to speak to resolution number 2024-36? Seeing nobody in chambers or online, we'll bring it back to council. Councilmember Basin.
Thank you, Mayor. Maybe a brief overview from maybe the city clerk and why we need this?
Ms. Sainer.
Thank you. Through the mayor. So elections change regularly. We're keeping up with technology, and this is basically some housekeeping. The borough clerk is no longer programming the ballots and the layouts. That's being done by the provider. So this clarifies that, and it also, if we were to have a special election, it will increase our cost for a special election to what they're actually providing. The provider is charging, and it also clarifies that the absentee voting station here at City Hall is under my management, even though the staff is still hired by the borough clerk. I establish the hours and the procedures here at our office, and the rest of it is just basic language cleanup and bringing it up to date.
Thank you.
Further discussion? Would you?
Request unanimous consent.
Thank you. Unanimous consent was requested. Is there any objection? Seeing none, resolution number 2024-36 is adopted. That brings us to item E4, resolution number 2024-37, authorizing contract award utilizing an innovative procurement procedure and corresponding purchase order for the Public Safety Building Tower Guy System Upgrade Project. Pleasure, council. Vice Mayor Nexton.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to adopt Resolution 2024-37.
Second.
Is there anybody from the general public that would like to speak to resolution number 2024-37? Seeing nobody online or in chambers here, we'll bring it back to council. Vice Mayor Basin.
Thank you, Mayor. So I'm thinking an innovative procurement procedure is not the typical 3 bids, maybe. The city manager could give us an overview on what we're doing?
Mr. Eubank.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Councilmember Basin, that is correct. So for this project is to do some upgrades to the public safety communication tower next door. We did 2 formal solicitations. The first solicitation, we received no bids. The second solicitation, we received 1 bid, and that bid was almost double what our estimated cost for the project was, and it was also more than what we had budgeted for the project. So we were unable to award. At that point, rather than put out another bid, Public Works came up with, they proposed an innovative procurement where we went to Motorola. One of the driving forces for this is we're under contract right now with Motorola to complete the radio replacement project over at Public Safety. That project can't be completed until they won't climb our tower until we complete these upgrades to the tower. So that contract has been delayed at least twice. And so we reached out to Motorola, who does this work all over the state. They had a list of contractors that they recommended we reach out to. The innovative procurement was to directly reach out to those vendors and solicit quotes from them. The only solicitation was 1, their availability to do the work, and 2, the price. That's how we received one quote. It came in $59,000 less than the bid amount we got for the only bid that we received. So I do believe that the city met its obligation to provide a competitive environment for local contractors to provide quotes. But we did not issue a third RFP or bid for the work. So we chose this route, and I do believe we've met the intent of code, provided competition, and considering the timelines and the contract we have with Motorola, I'd recommend we approve the innovative procurement and award the contract.
Councilmember Basin.
Thank you for that, City Manager. So maybe a technical question maybe for our police chief, just for my own knowledge. Is this for dealing with Motorola? Is this with the Alaska Land Mobile radio system? Is this also dealing with our legacy system, or both? Just kind of interested in what they're going to be doing and how that works with our tower.
Chief Ross.
Councilor Baisden through the mayor. So we did a two-part improvement to all of our radios, and the first part is done, and that was all of the Almar radios, the consoles and dispatch and stuff. So this is the second phase, and it is all the legacy stuff. It is the antennas that are on the tower, the cables running up the tower, and the legacy radios in the server room. So this is to maintain the legacy channels, if that answers your question.
It does. Thank you.
Further discussion? Councilmember or Vice Mayor Maxson.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I don't have any issues with the procurement process, but the question I do have is this contractor under the same contract obligations and package that they would have been had they been the successful bidder during the bid? Is the conditions any different for when they're supposed to perform or what they're supposed to do?
Mr. Eubank.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Councilmember or Vice Mayor Nack said yes, it's the exact same rules. Scope work is the same. So yes, everything is the same.
Question unanimous consent.
Thank you. Unanimous consent was requested. Is there any objection? Seeing none, resolution number 2024-37 is adopted. That brings us to item I, Commission reports. Council on Aging Commission.
I think that's me, Mayor.
Okay, Councilmember Basin.
Council on Aging, we canceled the meeting for this month, and I'm looking at the calendar for next month. Council on Aging will be on September 13th.
Thank you. Airport Commission.
No report. The Airport Commission meets tomorrow night at 6.
Thank you. Harbor Commission.
Thank you, Mayor Gabriel. Harbor Commission meets on the 12th, and Councilmember Solnar has agreed to cover for me.
Very good. Thank you, Councilmember Askin. Parks and Recreation Commission.
Thank you, Mayor Gabriel. There was no July meeting for Parks and Rec, and their August meeting was just canceled due to lack of agenda items.
Very good. Planning and Zoning Commission. That would be Mr. Dothad, and I don't think Governor Center.
Thank you, Mayor Gabriel. Their last meeting was canceled, and their next meeting
right.
is a week from today.
That's right. I do remember that now. Beautification Commission.
That's me. Nothing new to report. Our meeting's going to take September.
Thank you. Under report of the mayor, I just wanted to say I did attend the 4th of July parade. That was the day after our meeting like a month ago. We don't have a second meeting in July, so it seems like a long time ago. But I will say that that was a very well-attended event. The weather was not great, so I was in the front of the parade and then jumped off at the judging booth to do the rest of the entrance. There were 70-some entrants, so kudos to the chamber for putting that together. But it was a little bit windy, and I kind of felt bad for, you see these little dance groups that go by, and the two little, 80-pound girls up there trying to hold the banner walking down the Spur Highway in a gusty situation. They definitely worked hard and did well, but the whole parade I thought was well done and a success. And then some of you may have noticed, I know there's a trophy, it's kind of hard to see next to me. some of you may not have seen it, but I would like to point this out. So the Boys and Girls Club works with partnership with the food bank to do a fund or a food drive around the 4th of July. Last year was the first year for it. It's called King of the River. We were beat out by Soldotna last year, and what happens is, in fact, it was supposed to be July 6th, I believe it was the original intent, was to have the winning city mayor pitch throughout the opening pitch at the Oilers game, and the losing city mayor is the catcher. Well, last year I was the catcher, Soldotna won, and then this year what happened was the game was postponed due to weather and was rescheduled for July 31st. I couldn't make it that day, so I want to thank Councilmember Dothett. He stepped in for me, and we won. And what was interesting is we had a pretty sizable lead for that little gap there between the 6th and the 31st. And Soldotna, I think it was like 5,000 pounds. Well, Soldotna kind of closed that and made it interesting. So the final total was Kenai had 24,885.65 pounds to Soldotna's 23,518 pounds for a total of 48,403.65 pounds. So wonderful event, and I want to thank Jeff DeLifka, who's sort of spearheaded this effort, got it off the ground, and then of course the Boys and Girls Club and their staff were doing a lot of the administration for it. But and then again, it was too bad I wasn't able to throw out the pitch. I did ask Councilmember Dothett if he got it across the plate, right? Because you don't want to Fauci that thing, and he was able to. He said he hit the plate, so I guess that's close enough. So just wanted to say congrats to the city of Kenai. We pat ourselves on the back. Yeah, you want to do a photo op real quick? Yeah, okay. Yeah, let's take a minute. We'll do a photo op. And then make sure we put it on our Facebook. So with that, that was my mayor's report. And again, thank you for this. The big winner here, obviously, is the food bank. So, we might give each other a hard time. And believe me, I got a hard time last year when Soldotna won. So I don't feel bad about giving it back to them, actually. But with that, we'll go to administration reports. City manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. It's been a while since we met, so I do have a number of items here, but what I'll start off with is I want to welcome and introduce our new fire chief, Jay Teague. Jay has over 20 years of experience in the fire service, having served as an active duty firefighter and flight medic for the U.S. Air Force, as a fire chief for the 4 Mile Fire Protection District in Colorado, and as the Director of Emergency Management and Fire Management Officer for Teller County, Colorado. In addition to his experience, he brings a strong commitment to ensuring our community receives the best possible fire and EMS services. He started with the city on July 15th, and he's had a very busy first 3 weeks on the job. So welcome, Chief. On some other employee updates, we have received a retirement notice from Deputy Chief John Harris. He's going to be retiring from the city in September after 25 years of service. So I'm sure there'll be a retirement celebration for John, and I really want to express the community's thanks to him for those 25 years of service. Our capital project manager, Alan Robillard, is retiring from the city as well. He gave his notice, I believe it's in October. He's been with us for about 3 years. We're currently recruiting for 1 police officer and a part-time driver at the senior center. We did do some interviews after first round for the planning director. Those took place last month. We've reopened that recruitment. It'll be out till August 20th, looking for a few more applicants. And Max, who has left now, is serving as the interim director at this point. So DipNet closed on the 31st as scheduled. You know, I think every year there's something surprising that happens during DipNet. Try not to be surprised anymore, but I think overall the city does a pretty phenomenal job of managing the chaos. And I think what I'm most proud of is how well we clean up afterwards and get kind of life back to normal on our beaches and things like that for our residents. I do want to bring up one thing. I know I emailed this to council, but I think it's good to hear it. We did have a kind of a one of our more unusual rescues this season. We had a father and son who actually were swept out while dip netting. Our fire crews deployed. I'm not sure exactly which boat they used, but I think it was maybe the big boat. They deployed our big boat. They picked them up about a half a mile offshore out in the inlet. And, you know, I'll just read these. These are the firefighters that were involved: Garrick Martin, Pete Coots, Ben Namager, and Steve Turkington. So they did a phenomenal job of identifying the situation and getting the right things deployed. And I think the gentleman and his son were a little hypothermic. They did refuse transport, but I think everything at the end of the day worked out. So great job to our people. And yeah, there's always something during DipNet. So on August 17th, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. at the fire department, the department's hosting an ambulance dedication ceremony. If you look as you leave here tonight, at the back of the fire station, police station over there are 2 brand new ambulances parked there. We received our 2 new ambulances. So they'll be having a ceremony on that Saturday morning, the 17th. And council, we sure hope we'd like to see you there. The administration is working on a number of land issues right now, but we are working to organize a city land sale of some residential properties. And the last land sale that was done by the city was held in 2007. So we are trying to put a land sale together, and with the intent also, for the first time, we will offer the veteran discount that has been recently passed by council. So you will be seeing some legislation brought forward that will declare those some parcels not needed for a public purpose and authorize their sale. We're also working. We did have some interest to purchase some land that is contiguous with some of the gravel pits off of Beaver Loop. So we're looking at a project to survey and subdivide some of that out there, and then do some sort of land sale there as well for some lots to extend some of those pits. That too, you'll see some legislation coming forward for that project. We did have a workshop with our new marketing company. We held that with our department heads on July 16th and generated some ideas internally, and we're continuing to work with them on putting together the marketing plan for the city. We have started utilizing radio advertising. That started here on August 1st, and you should be hearing ads for city meetings and events on KSRM, KWHQ, KFSE, KKNI, and also KDLL. So we have, we've implemented that. Let's see. I did authorize closure of the exhibit area at the the chamber over there and the culture area from November 4th to December 20th, so that the chamber and their new museum curator position can update the display in there. So that will be closed for a brief time this winter, and they're looking at a grand reopening of it in January. I'm working with Human Resources and Public Works. With the retirement of our capital project manager, it gives us some flexibility to maybe make some changes in those job descriptions. It may require some amendment to the position description, and that would be brought before council if it's needed. So you may be seeing something like that here in the not too distant future. Working with the clerk, Shelley and I and our department heads to look at some code amendments to address the fact that the Peninsula Clarion is only publishing 1 day a week now, and how that's impacting operations, and maybe propose some changes rather than use of the newspaper. So I do plan to attend the 2024 ICMA annual conference in Pittsburgh, September 21 through 25. The airport did submit the Kenai Small Community Air Service Development Grant proposal. We had letters of support. We had Joint Resolution 2024-01 with the borough and all the incorporated cities on the peninsula. We received letters of support. Those included letters from the Knights Indian Tribe, U.S. Senator Dan Sullivan, Senator Jesse Bjorkman, Representative Ruffridge, Representative Vance, the Kenai Chamber, the Homer Chamber, the Seward Chamber, and the Kenai Peninsula Economic Development District. And we're continuing to work on other letters of support for that. I did execute an extension to an affiliation agreement between the city, fire department, and UAA. This allows the paramedic program students over at KPC to do some of their work with our fire crews. That got extended till October 31st, and Chief Teague is working with folks from UAA to get a long-term agreement put in place. So we'll be bringing that before you once we get that worked out. I'm getting there. We were successful with the assistance of Senator Bjorkman getting the grant language changed for our personal use fishery grant that we had some leftover funds. It now includes the city dock, so we'll be looking to put a project together down there to do some needed repairs down at the dock. I got to give a big shout out to Tyler and his crew. It seemed like it was an extension of DipNet, but it really wasn't. It was a weekend after DipNet. We had 88 soccer teams from across the state of Alaska here, which is a lot. And I think it went really well. I think it was well run by the local group that hosted. But to bring that number of people and teams here to our community for 4 or 5 days is it's got to be great for businesses. And I just want to say thank you, Tyler, for how organized that was. And I think it was really well done by the host and your crews. So thank you. Tomorrow I'm meeting with representatives from Senator Murkowski's office to discuss her letter of support for our SCADSI grant proposal, and also any other issues that they would like to discuss. The last one is, there's so many of these coming through right now. I haven't sent this out to council. We do have a comment period that's open, that we were made aware of it's called an incidental harassment authorization for marine mammals. This is being issued by U.S. Fish and Wildlife. I love the incidental harassment. What this is to provide a limited harvest of sea otters. And the city could comment if it chose to, because I don't know that we have a sea otter population here in the city or in the river. I don't know that I didn't see a need for us to comment, but if council is interested, I can forward that along to you. And if you'd like us to draft something to comment, we could have it for council at the next meeting. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Any questions of the city manager? See none. I would like to We have no city attorney here this evening, so we'll go to the city clerk, Ms. Sainer.
Thank you, Mayor Gabriel. Just a couple of things. The candidate filing period is now open for city council seats. It closes on August 15th at 4:30 p.m. Our city website, kenai.city/elections, is updated with candidate information as they're certified, and other election information is there. And the absentee voting for the State of Alaska primary is going now at their new Region 5 office, which recently opened here on the peninsula. They are in the old Cars Mall, and just so you know, there are people that are voting now that are young enough to don't know where the old Cars Mall are. So we have their address available in our office to let people know where to go and vote. And the absentee voting for our municipal elections will still be at our city hall. So it's going to take some time to get voters used to state and federal elections going to a different location than when they're voting in their borough and city elections. And also, I will be traveling to the Valley next Wednesday for a tour and demonstration of early voting procedures in the Mat-Su Valley. One of the recommendations of the voter working turnout group, which I was a member of, was to initiate or look into early voting versus absentee voting prior to the election. So this is one of the procedures, is we're going to see how it's administered in local municipal elections in that area and look into what it's going to take to make it happen in our area. And I'm available for questions.
Any questions of the city clerk? Thank you. Seeing none, we will go to additional public comments. Is there anybody from the general public that would like to address the council at this time? Seeing nobody online or in chambers, we'll go to council comments. Let's start online with Councilmember Askin. Thank you. Councilmember Daniel. Thank you. Student Representative Tanner.
Thank you, Mayor Gabriel. I don't really have much to report other than KBBSD schools open on August 21st, and several sports teams have already begun non-mandatory preseason practices. Yeah, that's about it.
Thank you. Councilmember Sonard.
Thank you, Mayor Gabriel. Just a quick shout out to Tyler Best and his department for the whole summer work that you guys have done. Obviously personal use fishery, but also all the parks around here and the mowing and the landscaping. It looks really nice around here, so thank you. And then shout out to our fire department for that awesome rescue.
Thank you. Councilmember Bazin.
Thank you, Mayor. Welcome, Chief Teague. Look forward to having you here. I also thought it was great that the state soccer tournament was held down here. I spent many years in Anchorage. I'm glad it finally made its way down here. It looked like it was successful. Got to go watch some great games over there, too, so really enjoyed it. If you haven't been to the Kenai Golf Course, it's in the best shape I've ever seen it. You better get over there.
Vice Mayor Naxton.
I bet the golf course is underwater right now. But I wanted to welcome the new chief. I look forward to meeting you in person, and I'll stop by sometime. But welcome to the city of Kenai. I wanted to thank Tyler also, not for all the things, well, for all the things everybody else said, but the field of flowers is starting to bloom, and I saw that the other day, so I have to go out and take a look at it, and I know that will increase. And I didn't realize this was the year that was supposed to happen. So anyway, it looks good. It took 2 years to get to this point, and I know that. Thank you very much. I want to remind everybody that Industry Appreciation is coming up, not this weekend, but the following weekend, Saturday, at the Park Strip down here. And I think that's noon to 4, something like that. I've been asked to help again with the frozen T-shirt thing, and I could probably use some help from somebody if they want to come help with that. It's a lot of fun. Lots of little kids trying to get the T-shirt opened up so they can win a bicycle and all of that. So that's coming up. And also, the city manager mentioned the gravel pit possibility, and I look forward to that. About 8 years ago or something like that, I got the city to, we on our city property, since it was between the existing gravel pits, and it's not where you can see from the road, from Beaver Loop, but to dig test holes out there, to get a soils report on the material and delineate those areas. So this has been something that's been on the plan for quite a long time, and test holes stay good for pretty much forever if nothing changes. So anyway, hopefully that will help with what you were talking about as far as the possibility of a gravel pit extension. And the city is built on gravel, all of our roads, foundations, and everything like that. It's real important, and that's some of the best material anywhere comes from that Beaver Loop area. So that's all I got.
Yeah, thank you. I just want to welcome Chief Teed board, and I did have granddaughters that played in that soccer tournament, and it was well done. And I know coming off of DipNet, probably just really what we want to do is host the tournament. Thought about a great job seeing that through. And I did golf Kenai Monday, that last nice day we had, because my same granddaughters were in the junior tournament there, so it went very well. So with that, we have no executive session or no pending items before us. See no other business before this body. We are adjourned.